Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step demonstration on how to download and install your new Lightroom mobile presets, how to apply those presets to your photos, and different tips and tricks on how we can manipulate the photos within Lightroom mobile, within the Lightroom mobile app to get the most out of your presets and the most out of your photos. Before we get started, I would like to once again thank you so much for purchasing my preset pack. It means the world to me. This is a new venture for me, and I'm so excited to have you along for it. You are helping support my art and my business, and thank you so much. So let's get started. Heading over to the cell phone. That was awkward. That's okay though. Let's get started. Alrighty, now that we have our cell phones, make sure that you have the Lightroom mobile app. If you haven't already downloaded it, go ahead and navigate over to your app store and download it for free. The app is totally free, but you might need to make an Adobe account when you first download it. Once you have Lightroom on your phone, go ahead and navigate to your email. You should have received an email from me directly after purchasing your preset pack. From there, you can download your presets directly onto your phone. So we're going to select download. I'm going to open with Chrome, and that's going to allow me to download the folders, and then I'm going to have it open into my files. Save to files, and I'm going to put it on my iPhone in the Chrome folder. I'm going to press save. Then I'll go ahead and go over to my files and open that up. Now I've already actually downloaded these onto my phone before, but you should see a zipped file. You can select that and it'll open up the folder where you'll see your 3 mobile presets, 01, 02, and 03. Now what we're going to do is we're going to download them directly onto our phone into the camera roll. So we're going to select preset 01. We're going to say this, select the send to at the bottom left corner and say save image. That's going to save this image to our camera roll. Don't worry if you don't see any photo yet. You'll see it when you open it in Lightroom. We'll do that for 02 as well as 03. Alright, so now that we have that downloaded onto our camera roll, we're going to navigate over to Lightroom. Here in Lightroom we have different albums as well as an all photos folder. Any photos that you import into Lightroom will automatically go into the all photos folder unless you decide or indicate that you want it to go into a specific album. Just to keep things super organized, I'm going to have you create a new album specifically for my presets. So we're going to press this plus sign right next to albums, and we're going to say create new album. We're going to call this LJP preset pack and press OK. Once you've created the album, you can select it, and then we're going to use the add photo button down in the lower right hand corner to select our photos from camera roll. So we're going to select the first 3 blank images from our camera roll. I'm going to say add, and then they'll be added into the Lightroom album. You saw a little pop-up that says that I already have these in my Lightroom. That's because I've already done this before, but that won't pop up when you do it for the first time. So let's select 01 preset. We have one more step for each of our presets before we can start applying them to your photos. We're going to create a preset within Lightroom using the adjustments that I've made on these images. So we're going to select the 3 dots at the top right hand corner. We're going to say create preset. We're going to title the preset LJP 01. Now you can name the preset anything that you want, but if you're going to create your own presets or if you have multiple presets from different people, I recommend labeling these in a way that will keep them organized for you. I mean, if you don't like LJP01, maybe you should name your preset Alfred or Lillian, whatever floats your boat. Next, we're going to create a preset group specifically for this preset, again, to keep things organized. If you don't create your own preset group, or if you don't create a preset group specifically for these presets, it'll automatically go into user presets. I personally have a ton of presets, so putting it into user presets isn't super helpful for me. And like I said, if you're going to have multiple presets from different people, let's keep things organized. So in the next row down, I'm going to select that user presets, and then down at the bottom, I'm going to select create new preset group. And I'm going to title it LJP preset demo, and done. Then I'm going to press the check mark at the upper right hand corner, and I've added the preset to my Lightroom catalog. We'll do the same thing for 02 and 03. So up in the right hand corner, the three dots, create preset, LJP 02, and then I'm going to add it to the preset group LJP preset demo, and 03, same thing. Now that we have the presets added into Lightroom, we can start applying them to other photos. So I'm going to open up the album where I've added a bunch of photos for this demonstration. And we're going to start with this fabulous photo of a giraffe. I took this photo when I was in Florida a few years ago. So once you have the photo opened, we're going to scroll on the bottom menu all the way over to the right until we see presets. We're going to select presets. Now, when you open this for the first time, it's going to pop up the presets that are auto-loaded into Lightroom. They're okay, they're not my favorite, but to find the presets that you've just installed, you're going to select the little arrow next to the color preset, and then you'll scroll down until you see LJP preset demo or whatever you named your preset group. Now we see our three presets, LJP 01, 02, and 03. For this photo, I think 01 is going to be the right match. So I'm going to click on 01, and it's been applied to the photo. If you press and hold down on the photo, you can see the before, and when you release, you can see the after. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this preset by clicking the check mark at the bottom right hand corner. I think this looks pretty good, but for my personal preference, it's a little bit dark. So one way that we can adjust the preset is by heading over to the light menu. We're going to select light, and we're going to increase the exposure. By increasing the exposure, we're going to increase the overall lightness of the photo. If we go all the way to the right, it gets way too bright, and if we go all the way to the left, it gets way too dark. So my first tip is to only make subtle changes at first. So we're going to increase it to about 0.7. And already I think that's made a huge difference. There are lots of different adjustments that you can make within Lightroom Mobile. This is a super duper powerful editing app, especially for a mobile version. And I definitely suggest playing around with it, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to just kind of give you my top few tips and tricks. So the first one is adjusting your exposure. So that looks pretty good. Now to save your photo onto your camera roll, you're going to select the export button in the upper right hand corner, which looks like a little box with an arrow pointing up, and then you say export to camera roll, and it'll save directly onto your phone's camera. Awesome, I think that looks pretty great. Let's move on to our next photo. So for the next photo, let's do this photo of my friend Wendy. She is a selfie queen. I wish I could take selfies as good as she does. So we're going to move over to our presets again. This is what 01 looks like, what 02 looks like, and what 03 looks like. I think 02 is going to be the way to go. So we're going to select 02. I think that looks really good so far. Here's a little before and after. And while I think this looks really good, I'm going to give you another tip and trick that we can do to make this even better and really make Wendy pop. So first thing, I think let's go back over to light, and this time instead of changing our exposure, which changes the brightness or darkness of the photo for the entire photo, we're going to scroll down just a little bit to highlights. We're going to bring the highlights down even more, because if you can see, the highlights are the areas that are the brightest. We're going to bring those down just a little bit more. She's in a parking garage, so I feel like this photo is very moody, and I want the edit to reflect the feeling of the photo. Now, tip number 2 is going to be using the selective tool. So if you scroll all the way over to the left, we're going to press selective, and then in the upper left-hand corner, press the plus sign. We're going to do the second option, which is the circle with the dotted lines around it. And this allows us to draw an ellipse on our photo. Now, right now, the area that is red is going to be the only area that the edit is going to happen. But I want the area around the ellipse to be changed. So I'm going to select the inverse on the left side. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit so it's exactly how I want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the light button and bring the exposure down, and you can see that the exposure is changing only where the red was from the ellipse. So as I bring that down, it really makes Wendy pop. And I think that looks so much fun. That looks great. One more thing, we're going to crop it just a little bit. Awesome. So there's our before and after. Perfect, that looks great. All right, so for Koa, we're going to press presets again. And I think the 01 preset's going to look really good on this photo of Koa. We're going to select it. Here's the before and after, and we could be done right there, but there are just a few things that we can do to make this photo even better. So we're going to start by cropping just a teeny tiny bit to really focus on Koa's adorable little face right there. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to go back into light. I am going to bring up the shadows just a tad. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a way that we can fix Koa's little busted chin right there. This is totally optional to fix. This is just a good example of the way that you can heal maybe a scratch, a scrape, or acne, or just something that you don't want in the photo anymore. So looking at his chin, he's got a little boo-boo from a fall. What we're going to do is we're going to head over to the healing tool. So this is tip number 3, healing. And we're going to select the top circle right here, and this is the size. So we're going to make it pretty small. And then the second circle is the feather. So we want to feather this to make it look pretty natural. And the great thing about Lightroom Mobile is that you can zoom in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a little paint right over his boo-boo. And then Lightroom fixes it. Now you can see this line over to the circle. What it's doing is it's taking what's in the other circle, the grayed out one, and putting it where I have the blue part. So I'm going to bring it over to his cheek so it's from his skin. And there we go. No one would ever know that he had a little scrape on his chin. Before and after. Tip number 3. Awesome. That looks so great. Let's open up this photo of Jeffrey, and we're going to go over to presets. We're going to use preset number 3, and that looks great. That's such a great one-click edit for a black and white right there. Let's see, what can we do? Let's go ahead, we're going to brighten it up just a tad. I'm going to bring the whites up just to really make them pop. Perfect. That looks amazing. Okay, so all right, so for the next photo, I'm going to show you a photo that was taken of me on my birthday. My friends were so sweet and bought me a Star Trek cake. If you didn't know, I am a huge sci-fi fan and I absolutely love Star Trek and Star Wars and anything sci-fi related. So they were so sweet and bought me the best Star Trek cake ever. And the funny thing is I didn't know we were going to have a Star Trek themed cake. I just showed up in my Star Trek shirt, which I love to wear. So I was on theme for my birthday party without even knowing it. Now the thing about this photo in particular is that we took it inside underneath some really yellow lights. So I'm going to show you how even after we apply the preset, we can change the temperature of a photo from very, very warm to a little bit cooler. So if you're taking photos in not the best lighting situation, I've got your back. So let's look at 01, 02. Let's see, I think I like 01 because it keeps the yellows a little bit more true to color. But it does make me look very orange. You can see my skin tone is just a little bit too orange. So let's go over to the Colors tab. And on the top gradient of temperature gradient, I'm going to select it and bring it over to the left to make the photo just a little bit cooler. So before and after, and I think that's a huge difference. So I'm down to -20 on my temperature. Let me put it back to what it was originally at 0, and my skin just looks so yellow and orange. So bring it back down to -20, and I think that's so much better. I love that. Just a simple little edit right there. Awesome. Okay, so let's do one more photo. Let's see. All right, so we're going to do this lovely photo of my friend May. She's also a photographer. Shout out to May Burke Photography. All right, so let's go over to presets. Let's look at 01. That looks amazing. 02, also amazing. And 03, also amazing. It's so hard to choose when they're all so good at one click. Let's go ahead and go with 02. We're going to press OK, and I think that looks pretty good, but my 02 preset is definitely just a tad cooler in temperature. So just like with the other photo, we're going to go to color, and I'm going to bring that temperature up to make it a little bit warmer, to make the photo just feel a little bit more like the beach. I'm going to go over to light, and I think I want to bring the highlights down just a tad. That looks awesome. So before and after. Now, let's zoom in a little bit, and you can see that my 02 preset is very grain heavy. I personally love quite a bit of grain in my photos, especially on my mobile photos. So there is quite a bit of grain integrated into my presets, but if grain is not your thing, I totally understand. We can fix that right now. We're going to scroll over to Effects. We're going to scroll down to the grain section, and we can bring that grain right down. So let me zoom in a little bit. We're going to look right here. I'm going to look right here. So when we look at the grain, here's the grain turned all the way up and the grain turned all the way down. I love how grain makes a photo look a little bit more film-like, but if it's not your thing, you can bring it down as much as you like. Perfect. And you know what? I said this was going to be the last one, but I've got one more photo, I think. So here is a behind-the-scenes shot from a photo shoot I did a while ago. And let's see, there's one thing I want to demonstrate for this. Let's go ahead and do my 01 preset. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I want you to notice on my before, the short shirt that the model is wearing is bright, bright pink. And then on my after, you can see that the color of the shirt has been affected a lot by my preset. Now, I will say that my preset, especially 01, will shift pinks and reds quite a bit. So if that's not something that you like, here is the fix for you. I personally love it, but to each their own. So we're going to go to color again, and then we'll go to mix. Now this allows you to adjust individual colors in your photos. So we're going to start on the red hue, and we're going to take the hue to the left to make it just a little bit more red. If I go to the right, it'll turn the reds and pinks to the orange. And if I take it to the left, it'll bring the reds and pinks back down to like more of a red or magenta color. Next, we're going to bring the saturation up just a little bit, and that looks much more true to life. So before and after, and we'll go over to the pinks just a little bit, and we're going to bring up the saturation of the pink just a tad, and the hue over to red. There we go. So we've just fixed the color switch that happened after applying my preset. Before and after. So that's tip, well, I don't remember what number I'm on, maybe 4, that you can change individual colors. Anyways, I hope that those tips and tricks have helped you. I absolutely love the presets that I've developed. I use them all the time. I hope that they work as well for you as they do for me. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. I hope that it was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You can leave a comment below or you can email me. Thanks, guys. Bye.